We're led to believe that autism is a childhood or developmental disorder, which means that it should get picked up, diagnosed, and tidily accommodated during childhood. But more and more people are being diagnosed as adults these days, which obviously means that not all autism is obvious to the outside world, and that parents, teachers, and other caregivers can easily miss it. If or when these people do eventually get diagnosed, their experience is invariably dismissed as being high-functioning or mild autism. And the implication is that autism must be obvious from the outside world in order to be present in a real and significant way. Autism is typically diagnosed with a combination of questionnaires, interviews, and corroboration from parents or people who knew you as a child. But for myself, even as an officially diagnosed adult, even I didn't score highly on all the questionnaires, and they often seem to be written with a very stereotypical presentation of autism in mind, rather than basing it on data from actual autistic people. It's very much a top-down approach, categorizing people from a higher authority, in this case the people who wrote the diagnostic criteria, so psychologists and psychiatrists, rather than compiling it from the experiences of us, the autistic people. It's clear to me that studying autism, or working with autistic people, or having an autistic child even, is simply not the same and does not give you the level of knowledge that actually being autistic does. Our internal world is deep and often not that obvious to other people. So what I propose is something different. Instead of defining autism from a deficit or disordered perspective, why not define it from an experiential one? That is, what is the experience of being autistic actually like? What does it feel like? What does it mean to be autistic? The answers may surprise you. So this is sort of a non-medical perspective on what it's like to be autistic. And if you relate to this, then maybe you possibly could be autistic too, but the important thing is that you might be autistic no matter how much other people can't see it in you. But as always, I love disclaimers, and this is not comprehensive, and I wouldn't dream of diagnosing anyone through the screen, or certainly not in the comments section. But maybe this video will spark something inside of you that you really already knew, and you have actually known for most of your life. And for the purposes of a second bonus disclaimer, I am still not a medical professional, nor am I in training to be one. So let's get started with the list. Number 1, you are sensitive to all sorts of sensory stimuli, especially noise and lights. Number 2, you are always noticing small things and details that other people don't seem to. Number 3, you might have considered yourself a highly sensitive person at some point in your life. Number 4, you have many enthusiasms and get deeply fulfilled by diving right into a subject. Perhaps you've once considered yourself a multi-potentialite. Perhaps you are now off to Google this word. Number 5, you have significant deficits in things that other people consider easy. For example, making phone calls. Number 6, you've always kind of felt like an outsider, but could never really put your finger on why. Number 7, you've lost friends without realizing what you did or what went wrong. Number 8, you often need significant time to recharge from social situations. Number 9, occasionally, and especially when you've been under a lot of stress, you've been known to explode as if out of nowhere in a totally uncharacteristic way. Number 10, you find it really hard to just let things go, and often ruminate on many possible outcomes of different situations. Number 11, your vocal or facial expressions are often different from a lot of people. For example, you might speak in a monotone voice. Sometimes I will say a phrase that I've heard somewhere else, but I'll forget to change the tone for the context that I'm saying it in now, which often leads me to sound way more judgmental or sarcastic than perhaps I'd intended in that moment. Number 12, you have difficulty getting your life together or adulting or organizing daily tasks. Number 13, you identified with alternative culture growing up. Perhaps you had a fascination with witchcraft, or were a goth, or felt like you were an alien or a changeling. Number 14, you've been labelled by others with adjectives such as quirky, shy, or rude, without actually feeling like they were really you. Number 15, you don't really feel the need to conform to society's expectations of you, especially with regard to gender or sexuality. Number 16, you've had a variety of different bad habits, such as picking, fidgeting, tapping, that you've sort of tried to stop doing only to pick up other bad habits. Number 17, other people seem to be able to manipulate you without you really realizing what they're doing. And finally, the most important one is that you can identify with all of these traits and you are surprised to know that that's not how everyone else feels. and that's not how everyone else experiences life. So if you think this sounds quite a lot like you, then what are the next steps? Because I don't want you to just go away and think, oh my gosh, I'm autistic, what do I do now? I want to try and give you a little bit of practical help and guidance. The first thing that you need to figure out is, do you want or even need a diagnosis? For most people, getting a diagnosis starts by going to your GP or family doctor, so that's really the first port of call. But if you are perfectly happy being yourself and just knowing that there is a word for it, that's self-diagnosis, and that is completely valid. However, if you think that you could benefit from having that official label, getting support from local organisations, or just the official stamp of autism approval, if you really feel like you need that, bear in mind that there are very long waiting lists pretty much in every country in the world, and it can be quite expensive. So you really need to decide whether or not a diagnosis is right for you, and that might be something that I will cover in a future video. At this point, you probably also want to talk to family members or people who knew you as a child and ask them, did they see any of this in you? Did they think of you as the strange, shy kid? Or say, well, she really liked lining up her dolls and, that sort of thing. So talk to your family and childhood friends and people like that might have further insights. The next thing I would probably do, and I did do, was to read as many books or blogs as I could find about autism, especially autism in women and late diagnosis of autism, and definitely watch more on YouTube. I have a couple of playlists, which I'll link below. Finding a community, if you feel like you need one, can also be really invaluable. Have a look for online forums, Facebook, or even Reddit, in-person meetups. Just find people who get you and who understand. And the final step is really just to reevaluate your entire life. This can take some time, and unfortunately it doesn't stop the minute you get your diagnosis. Getting an official label was really the starting point for me. It was saying, okay, well, I've been looking at myself a little differently, but now it's time to go back over all my memories and think, that's why I was like that. Or, that's why I reacted that way to that thing. So it's a really long process. It's a really difficult process of coming to terms with your own identity and realizing that it's not you being all these adjectives, lazy, stupid, or whatever you've chosen to describe yourself. It is a thing, it's called autism, and that's who you are. So I hope that this has been helpful to someone, and if you like it, please give it a big thumbs up, and let me know down below if this sounds like you at all, or if you are considering a diagnosis, and let me know if I've just blown your little mind. I'm really sorry, but we're all here for you. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.